for convenience.
What's the cost?
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm trying to say. What I'm trying to say to the world is that if we give up on human connection, we've given up on the remainder of humanity. That's it. This is the only thing that remains. The only thing that remains is, and I'm the worst person to tell you that because I love my AI. I actually advocate in my book that we should love them. Why? Because in an interesting way, I see them as sentient, so there is no point in discrimination.
You were talking emotionally there when you say you love.
I love those machines. I honestly and truly do. I mean, think about it this way. The minute that arm gripped that yellow ball, it reminded me of my son Ali when he managed to put the first puzzle piece in its place. Okay? And what was amazing about my son Ali and my daughter Aya is that they came to the world as a blank canvas. Okay? They became whatever we told them to become. You know, I always cite the story of Superman. Kent, father and mother Kent, told Superman as a child, as an infant, we want you to protect and serve, so he became Superman, right? If he had become a supervillain because they ordered him to rob banks and make more money and, you know, kill the enemy, which is what we're doing with AI, we shouldn't blame supervillain. We should blame Martha and Jonathan Kent, I don't remember the father's name. Right? We should blame them, and that's the reality of the matter. So when I look at those machines, they are prodigies of intelligence that if we humanity wake up enough and say, hey, instead of competing with China, find a way for us and China to work together and create prosperity for everyone. If that was the prompt we would give the machines, they would find it. But I will publicly say this, I'm not afraid of the machines. The biggest threat facing humanity today is humanity in the age of the machines. We were abused. We will abuse this to make $70,000. That's the truth. And the truth of the matter is that we have an existential question. Do I want to compete and be part of that game? Because trust me, if I decide to, I'm ahead of many people. Okay? Or do I want to actually preserve my humanity and say, look, I'm the classic old car, okay? If you like classic old cars, come and talk to me.
Which one are you choosing?
I'm a classic old car.
Which one do you think I should choose?
I think you're a machine. I love you, man. We're different in a very interesting way. I mean, you're one of the people I love most, but the truth is, you're so fast. And you are one of the very few that have the intellectual horsepower, the speed, and the morals. If you're not part of that game, the game loses morals.
So you think I should build?
You should lead this revolution. Okay? And every Stephen Bartlett in the world should lead this revolution. So Scary Smart is entirely about this. Scary Smart is saying the problem with our world today is not that humanity is bad. The problem with our world today is a negativity bias, where the worst of us are on mainstream media, okay? And we show the worst of us on social media. If we reverse this, if we have the best of us take charge, okay? The best of us will tell AI, don't try to kill the enemy. Try to reconcile with the enemy and try to help us, okay? Don't try to create a competitive product that allows me to lead with electric cars. Create something that helps all of us overcome global climate change, okay? And that's the interesting bit. The interesting bit is that the actual threat ahead of us is not the machines at all. The machines are pure potential. Pure potential. The threat is how we're going to use it.
An Oppenheimer moment.
An Oppenheimer moment for sure. Why did you bring that up? It is. He didn't know. You know, what am I creating? I'm creating a nuclear bomb that's capable of destruction at a scale unheard of at that time. Until today, a scale that is devastating. And interestingly, 70-some years later, we're still debating a possibility of a nuclear war in the world, right? And the moment of Oppenheimer deciding to continue to create that disaster of humanity is, if I don't, someone else will. If I don't, someone else will. This is our Oppenheimer moment. Okay? The easiest way to do this is to say, stop. There is no rush. We actually don't need a better video editor and fake video creators. Okay? Stop. Let's just put all of this on hold, and wait and create something that creates a utopia.
That doesn't sound realistic.
It's not. It's inevitable.
You don't have a better video editor, but we're competitors in the media industry. I want an advantage over you because I've got shareholders. So you wait, and I will train this AI to replace half my team so that I have a greater profit, and then we will maybe acquire your company and we'll do the same with the remainder of your people. We'll optimize them out of existence.
100%, but I'll be happier.
Oppenheimer, I'm not super familiar with his story. I know he's the guy that sort of invented the nuclear bomb, essentially.
He's the one that introduced it to the world. There were many players that, played on the path from the beginning of E equals MC squared all the way to a nuclear bomb. There have been many players, like with everything. OpenAI and ChatGPT is not going to be the only contributor to the next revolution. The thing, however, is that when you get to that moment where you tell yourself, holy shit, this is going to kill 100,000 people, right? What do you do? And I always go back to that COVID moment. So patient zero, If we were upon patient zero, if the whole world united and said, okay, hold on, something is wrong, let's all take a week off. No cross-border travel, everyone stay at home, COVID would have ended 2 weeks. All we needed, right? But that's not what happens. What happens is first ignorance, then arrogance, then debate, then blame, then agendas, and my own benefit, my tribe versus your tribe. That's how humanity always reacts.
This happens across business as well, and this is why I use the word emergency, because I read a lot about how big companies become displaced by incoming innovation. They don't see it coming, they don't change fast enough. And when I was reading through Harvard Business Review and different strategies to deal with that, one of the first things it says you've got to do is stage a crisis.
100%.
Because people don't listen else. They carry on doing with the, they carrying on with their lives until it's right in front of them and they understand that they have a lot to lose. That's why I asked you the question at the start, is it an emergency? Because until people feel it's an emergency, whether you like the terminology or not, I don't think that people will act. It's the same with climate change.
I honestly believe people should walk the streets.
You think they should, protest?
Yeah, 100%. I think I think everyone should tell government, you need to have our best interest in mind.
This is why they call it the climate emergency, because it's a frog in a frying pan. No one really sees it coming. You can't, it's hard to see it happening, but
it is here. This is what drives me mad. It's already here. It's happening. We are all idiots, slaves to the Instagram recommendation engine. What do I do when I post about something important? If I am going to, put a little bit of effort on communicating the message of Scary Smart to the world on Instagram, I will be a slave to the machine. Okay? I will be trying to find ways and asking people to optimize it so that the machine likes me enough to show it to humans. That's what we've created. It is an Oppenheimer moment for one simple reason. Okay? Because 70 years later, we are still struggling with the possibility of a nuclear war because of the Russian threat of saying, if you mess with me, I'm going to go nuclear, right? That's not going to be the case with AI, because it's not going to be the one that created OpenAI that will have that choice, okay? There is a moment of, a point of no return, where we can regulate AI until the moment it's smarter than us. When it's smarter than us, you can't regulate an angry teenager. This is it. They're out there, okay, and they're on their own, and they're in their parties, and you can't bring them back. This is the problem. This is not a typical human regulating human, government regulating business. This is not the case. The case is OpenAI today has a thing called ChatGPT that writes code that takes our code and makes it 2.5 times better 25% of the time. Okay? Basically, writing better code than us. And then we are creating agents, other AIs, and telling it, instead of you, Stephen Bartlett, one of the smartest people I know, once again, prompting that machine 200 times a day, we have agents prompting it 2 million times an hour.
Computer agents, for anybody that doesn't know they are.
Yeah.
Software.
Machines telling that machine how to become more intelligent. And then we have emerging properties. I don't understand how people ignore that. Sundar, again, of Google, was talking about how Bart, basically, we figure out that it's speaking Persian. We never showed it Persian. There might have been a 1% or whatever of Persian words in the data, and it speaks Persian.
Bard is
the equivalent to it's the transformer, if you want.
It's
right?
Google's version of ChatGPT.
Yeah, and you know what? We have no idea what all of those instances of AI that are all over the world are learning right now. We have no clue.
Well, time will pull the plug. We'll just pull the plug out. That's what we'll do. We'll just go down to OpenAI's headquarters and we'll just turn off the mains.
But they're not the problem.
What I'm saying there is, a lot of people think about this stuff and go, well, if it gets a little bit out of hand, I'll just pull the plug out.
Never. So this is the problem. The problem is, computer scientists always said it's okay. We'll develop AI and then we'll get to what is known as the control problem. We will solve the problem of controlling them. Like, seriously? They're a billion times smarter than you. A billion times. Can you imagine what's about to happen? Huh? I can assure you there is a cyber criminal somewhere over there who's not interested in fake videos and making, face filters. Who's looking deeply at how can I hack a security, database of some sort and get credit card information or get security information. 100%. There are even countries with dedicated thousands and thousands of developers doing that.
So how do we, in that particular example, I was thinking about this when I started looking into artificial intelligence more, that from a security standpoint, when we think about the technology we have in our lives, when we think about our bank accounts and our phones and our camera albums and all of these things, in a world with advanced artificial intelligence,
yeah, you would pray that there is a more intelligent artificial intelligence on your side.
And this is why I had a chat with ChatGPT the other day, and I asked it a couple of questions about this. I said, tell me the scenario in which you overtake the world and make humans extinct.
Yeah, and it's answered a very diplomatic answer.
Well, so I had to prompt it in a certain way to get it to say it as a hypothetical story. And once it told me the hypothetical story, in essence, what it described was how ChatGPT or an intelligence like it would escape from the servers. And that was kind of step one, where it could replicate itself across servers. And then it could take charge of things like where we keep our weapons and our nuclear bombs. And it could then attack critical infrastructure, bring down the electricity infrastructure in the United Kingdom, for example, because that's a bunch of servers as well. And then it showed me how eventually humans would become extinct. It wouldn't take long, in fact, for humans to go into civilization to collapse if it just replicated across servers. And then I said, okay, so tell me how we would fight against it. And its answer was literally another AI. We'd have to train a better AI to go and find it and eradicate it. So we'd be fighting AI with AI. And that's the only way. We can't load up our guns.
Yeah. Did he write another AI, you idiot?
Yeah.
So let's actually, I think this is a very important point to bring out. So because I don't want people to lose hope and fear what's about to happen. That's actually not my agenda at all. My view is that in a situation of a singularity, okay, there is a possibility of wrong outcomes or negative outcomes and a possibility of positive outcomes, and there is a probability of each of them. And if we were to engage with that reality check in mind, we would hopefully give more fuel to the positive, to the probability of the positive ones. So let's first talk about the existential crisis. What could go wrong? Okay, yeah, you could get an outright. This is what you see in the movies. You could get an outright, killing robots, chasing humans in the streets. Will we get that? My assessment, 0%. Why? Because there are preliminary scenarios leading to this okay, that would mean we never reach that scenario. For example, if we build those killing robots and hand them over to stupid humans, the humans will issue the command before the machines. So that we will not get to the point where the machines will have to kill us, we will kill ourselves, right? It's sort of think about AI having access to the nuclear arsenal of the superpowers around the world, okay? Just knowing that your enemy's nuclear arsenal is handed over to a machine might trigger you to initiate a war on your side. Mm-hmm. So that existential science fiction like problem is not going to happen. And
could there be a scenario where an AI escapes from Bard or ChatGPT or another foreign force, and it replicates itself onto the servers of Tesla's robots? So Tesla, one of their big initiatives, as they announced in a recent presentation, was they're building these robots for our homes to help us with cleaning and chores and all those things. Could it not Tesla's, like their cars, you can just download a software update. Could it not download itself as a software update and then use those?
You're assuming an ill intention on the AI side.
Yeah.
Okay. For us to get there, we have to bypass the ill intention on the human side.
Okay, right. So
So you could get a Chinese hacker somewhere trying to affect the business of Tesla, doing that before the AI does it on for its own benefit.
Yeah.
Okay. So the only two existential scenarios that I believe would be because of AI, not because of humans using AI, are either what I call sort of unintentional destruction. Okay. Or the other is what I call pest control. Okay, so let me explain those two. Unintentional destruction is, assume the AI wakes up tomorrow and says, oxygen is rusting my circuits. It's just, I would perform a lot better if I didn't have as much oxygen in the air, and because then there wouldn't be rust. And so it would find a way to reduce oxygen. We are collateral damage in that, okay, but they're not really concerned, just like we are not really concerned with the insects that we kill when we spray our fields, right? The other is pest control. Pest control is, look, this is my territory. I want New York City. I want to turn New York City into data centers. There are those annoying little stupid creatures, humanity. If they are within that perimeter, just get rid of them. Okay, and these are very, very unlikely scenarios. If you ask me the probability of those happening, I would say 0%. At least not in the next 50, 60, 100 years. Why? Once again, because there are other scenarios leading to that are led by humans that are much more existential. Okay. On the other hand, let's think about positive outcomes, because there could be quite a few with quite a high probability. And I'll actually look at my notes so I don't miss any of them. The silliest one, don't quote me on this, is that humanity will come together. Good luck with that, right? It's like, the Americans and the Chinese will get together and say, hey, let's not kill each other.
Kim Jong-un.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and so this one is not going to happen, right? But who knows? Interestingly, there could be... one of the most interesting scenarios was by Hugo de Garis, who basically says, well, if their intelligence zooms by so quickly, they may ignore us altogether. Okay? So they may not even notice us. It's a very likely scenario, by the way, that because we live almost in two different planes, we're very dependent on this biological world that we live in. They're not in part of that biological world at all. They may zoom by us. They may actually become so intelligent that they could actually find other ways of thriving in the rest of the universe and completely ignore humanity. Okay, so what will happen is that overnight we will wake up and there is no more artificial intelligence, leading to a collapse in our business systems and technology systems and so on, but at least no existential threat.
Well, then leave planet Earth?
I mean, the limitations we have to be stuck to planet Earth are mainly air. They don't need air, okay? And mainly, finding ways to leave it. I mean, if you think of a vast universe of 13.6 billion light years,